Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is...
Rainy day this morning, afternoon. I don't even know what time it was anymore. But the rain was coming from up, down, and then back up, smacking me in the face. I mean, like, what in the world? It was actually sort of as bad as it was driving back from Long Island on Saturday night from the Coliseum. And don't worry, we're going to get into the Coliseum in a little while. But just a reminder, Facebook, In the Cage with Cyclone. You're clicking like, you're following the page, you're doing all that fanboy stuff. Hit me up on Twitter, CYCIE19. I mean, I left my house this morning. Facebook question. I know. Certain people want to always win, but we'll see what happens. But we will all start the show right after this.
This is Frank Edgar.
This is the Barbarian Tim Bosch.
I'm World Series of Fighting undefeated lightweight champion Justin Gaethje.
MMA legend, UFC Hall of Famer, Iceman, check it out. And if you got the guts, step in the cage with Cyclone.
All right, now let's dive into the week that was UFC on Fox 25. Yeah, it was UFC on Fox 25. Long Island, Nassau County Veterans Memorial Coliseum in Uniondale, New York. First of all, I want to give a great big shout out to the Long Island Marriott security guards for trying to help me lose weight. And by trying to help me lose weight, I mean by forcing me to stay outside all week long in 98-degree heat and not step a foot inside the hotel. Thank you, guys. There's a special place in hell for each and every one of you. But that being said, it was really interesting at the hotel. It's the first time all week long in taking photos with fighters, I didn't take a single face-off shot. Not a one. It happens when your friends don't show up. I had some interesting conversations. I got some very inside info. Of course, in having conversations with people, getting this info, yours truly forgot to pull out his voice recorder and tape it. So if you hear info and you don't tape it, did you really hear info? That's the question. Forget about the tree falling in the forest. That's the real question. I guess we got to dive into the Coliseum card. Here's the deal. The UFC likes to, and I guess Bellator and everybody else does too, when you have a card somewhere, you like to stack the card with hometown flavor. So they had 7 UFC fighters from Long Island, and boy, it was a long night for the majority of Long Islanders. Although it did start out good. Chris Wade beat Frankie Perez, unanimous decision. It would win. And I know blows. Sightlines, I guess, are okay, but there aren't full, rails going up the stairs, which is kind of dangerous, asking for trouble. Food prices are still through the roof, which I don't get. Business people need to realize if you lower prices, people will buy more. When you jack prices up, people buy less and try to sneak stuff in to begin with. But what do I know about business? I'm just a genius. I will talk a little bit later. One of the biggest highlights was Junior Baby Albini beating Timothy Johnson. And I'm going, like I said, I'm going to get into it a little bit later. But this guy was really, really impressive. We have the Gift King himself, Chase the Vanilla Gorilla Sherman, beating Damian Grabowski. And there was a lot of hype around Chase. He's like leading the charge in social media for fighters. So he had a lot of eyes on him, and I say within somewhere in the beginning of the second round, he started gassing out. Now, look, if you're going to push yourself that much, you can't really gas out. And I say that, meanwhile, one of my favorites, Connor gasses out really fast too. So I guess what I just said is an oxymoron, and I would be the moron in that case. A big shout out to Eric Anders, Nick Saban, prodigy from the University of Alabama, 2009 NCAA football champion, beating Rafael Sapo Natal, who, by the way, right this second is about a mile away from the studio teaching a BJJ class over at Henzo's. So here's the thing. Sapo's now on a 3-fight losing streak, and there needs to be a change. Either, I don't want to say he should hang it up, because I really don't think he should, but maybe a trip to Bellator? But I don't know. It's starting to be on the borderline for Sop. Obviously, see, here's the thing. Give him credit. Going to rip on the guys themselves because they're both great. But Patrick Cummings' face was kicked in. Yeah, okay. The first busted part of his face came on an accidental headbutt. But then again, he gets a 5-minute time to recoup. And like Gian said in the post-fight presser, when did that become a rule? Because I myself don't remember that either. You know, accidental headbutts don't usually get a 5-minute time to recoup. And then Gian put a mouse under his left eye. Was it the left eye? No, the left side of his head was cracked open from the headbutt. The mouse was under the right eye. And he was leaking a lot of fluid. And we're not talking about other bodily fluids other than blood, because that's all it was blood. But John didn't have a scratch on him. I mean, well, yeah, I guess he did have some scratches, but I don't know. I feel bad for John. I really do. And as a matter of fact, I'm working on him being a future guest here on In the Cage with Cyclone. And they're both good guys. You know, I'm not. So look, almost possibly deserving. Although from what I was told secretly that you guys really aren't hearing right now out of my mouth, November, Madison Square Garden, TJ Dillashaw, Cody Garbrandt for the bantamweight title. You did not hear from me first, but you did, but you didn't, because I'm not supposed to be giving that info out. And then obviously the amount of pressure on Chris Weidman coming in, 3-fight losing streak, your backyard against Kelvin Gastelum. And look, I'll tell you what. Last November, Gastelum was walking around eating pizza and Chinese food all week long. And I know that for a fact because I was outside the hotel and I watched him. Here's the thing. He has gotten himself into the best shape of his freaking life. And he wasn't playing games. And for him to go to, like he said, when he fought Vitor Belfort in Brazil recently, the Brazilian fans were chanting, "We're going to kill you." So coming to Long Island and getting the boos is a breeze considering they wanted to kill him in Brazil. See, that's the thing. Long Island is all, and to be honest, what the Long Island Coliseum, the Nassau Coliseum crowd was on Saturday night was all paisan. It was all Goomba. You know what I'm saying out there? It's all Italian. I think I might have been the only non-Italian in the building Saturday night. Okay. It was literally all of Brooklyn moved to Long Island, or Florida come back up for the night. All right. That's what this crowd was. So Gastelum knew what he was in for, and I'll give him credit. He went toe-to-toe. Chris put a Kimura on him in the first round. And, I mean, most guys would have tapped, but he was able to eventually wiggle his way out, which I'll tell you straight up, that was an impressive move. The fact that he left-handed to Chris's jaw and dropped Chris, and it might have been, I think, maybe just 3 or 4 times in Weidman's career he's been knocked to the mat, put him down, and then he started throwing these donkey fists. And yeah, you know, there's a theory he was saved by the bell. There's a theory that he wasn't saved by the bell. Chris said he wasn't, that he was perfectly fine. Nah, Chris, and I like you, but the fact of the matter is you weren't. When the horn sounded, you stood up and you walked in circles, and then you went to the wrong corner. That shows you're not all there in the cabeza. You know what I'm saying, guys? So that was the Coliseum experience. The heat, the humidity, the dealing with the a-hole security in the hotel, the overpriced food inside the arena. And that was my Saturday night, except for the best part coming home in that crazy torrential downpour. I decide, because I'm the world's smartest man, to go to the left lane on the southern state, and this truck coming on the eastbound hits this puddle at full blast, causes a typhoon to go over the divider, and for like a split second, I can't see out my windshield, and I have the divider on my left, and I have traffic on my right, and I literally almost pooped my pants, because that is not the way you want to get into it. Not that you want to get into an accident, but that's the one way you don't want to, you know. But thank God, knock wood, knock on my head, no accident, home safe. Although I unfortunately was not able to have my chocolate milkshake from Carvel on Saturday night. But I'm going to have to just have 2 later today. What else is on the docket? Let's talk Conor for a second, all right? Even though, you know, the pressures are gone and it's kind of leaving the hype train for a while, it started to boost back up because Conor, who is a master manipulator of social media and the verbal war and the mental war, Conor's the best. Conor's the best pro athlete, period, bar none, of mental warfare. Nobody comes close to him. He is the GOAT in that sense. He puts on a Golden State Warriors jersey. He tweets out, and then Floyd's posse member, Draymond Green, decides he wants to chirp him. He's like, bro, take the jersey off. I'm down with Team Floyd. And kind of gives one of the best comebacks he could have done. And it's a shame he didn't wear the jersey during the press conference tours. Although word is he was told contractually not to bring up the wife beating situation. But it was a C.J. Watson jersey. Yes, the C.J. Watson that's a former Brooklyn Net. C.J. Watson, of the quiet, humble guy. Because C.J. Watson and Floyd's baby mama had this thing going on, and it's like a love triangle, and So Connor had to school Draymond Green. And since then, Draymond's been social media quiet. 50 Cent chimed in. Conor McGregor schooled 50 Cent. 50 Cent has remained. And he's the perfect one. Paulie's a talker. Paulie's a chirper. Paulie's one hell of a fighter. Paulie knows the book on Floyd. And there's some other high-ranking boxing guys that are now starting to come around to the idea of Conor winning. And look, here's the deal. Like I've said before, I'm going to say again. Inside of 6 rounds, it's a pick'em. After 6, even I will say, Paul Cage with Cyclone. Victory FC 58 was this weekend also. And Mackie Pitolo. This guy, if you guys got to go watch this fight, all right, on YouTube. I'm sure somebody, like illegally put the fight up on YouTube. And I actually know that's true because I actually watched it, which is how I know what I'm about to tell you. He attempted like 1 million. Okay, maybe not like 1 million. Like maybe like 20 to 30 submissions on Dakota Cochran, all right? And the Joker once told Batman, it was Nike logo. Well, the Michael Jordan, not the Nike logo. It was the Michael Jordan Nike, basketball logo image cut. The way Gertz put through that knee onto Campos, and for a cut to open up on a guy's forehead that looks like Jordan doing the basketball, that Nike logo. First of all, I think Gertz should have like some sort of a sponsorship with Nike now on his knees can form their logo on people's foreheads. I think that would be pretty impressive. Now, let's do another little segment. On this date in MMA history, happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary. On this date in MMA history, July 24th, Affliction. Yes, who can forget Affliction? Who doesn't love Affliction? Affliction had their second and their last card ever, and it was highlighted by Andrei Arlovsky against Fedor, as my friend's girl always says. Fedor, 1,000,001 ankles. A day of reckoning, Affliction. It was their last card today in MMA history. Now, we're going to be talking a whole lot more stuff coming up right after this quick word.
Hi, I'm Jim Miller.
This is Dan Morigliata.
I'm Derek Brunson.
I'm Nick the Carney Lentz, and you're locked into the cage with Cyclone.
Alrighty. So, right here on BWRN on Spreaker, we got a BWRN on Spreaker. You gotta think maybe possibly 10 is Saturday, and that's going to be headlined by Andre Harrison, a.k.a., as I call him, Little John Jones, is taking on Steven Rodriguez. And, of course, that brings me to the thing that anyone who likes MMA is talking about as of today, as of tomorrow, this coming Saturday, UFC 214. Finally, the mega fight is here. DC, Daniel Cormier, John Jones, take 2, the rematch. Finally, unless, of course, God forbid, something happens between now and Saturday, which, quite frankly, as we all know, things have happened before last second, and who knows if it'll happen again, but knock wood, knock on my head, nothing happens. and we get to see this fight. I'm not making my predictions because that'll be on Friday. So I will say this. I am kind of leaning towards John. I think Bones is just got so much more of a badass than DC. And the fact that I hate everybody from AKA has absolutely nothing to do with it. Also on the card, someone who I've been trying to work with about being on the show, the Monkey God himself, Jared Brooks, finally makes his UFC debut. It's on the Fight Pass early prelims. It's against Eric Showtime Shelton. It's going to be a tough bout for Jared. But here's the deal. I really think that Jamie Lee is really trained Jared really good. I think he's ready for this. I think he's going to go 13-0. And then I'll hit him up again and I'll ask him if he wants to come on the show. And if he does or if he doesn't, who the heck knows? Obviously, the female featherweights will actually now have a champion. Tanya Evinger against Chris Cyborg. And look, I like Tanya. She's a nice girl. But let's face it. It is a one-sided fight. And then, to top it all off, if Cyborg wins, which I don't know if I should say if, but Cyborg wins, she's actually making an appearance in a couple weeks down in South Jersey. And she said she's bringing the belt with her. So I need to get my pick with her and the strap. That's something to look forward to. Cowboy Cerrone is fighting Robbie Lawler, and I don't know. I think Robbie, who, by the way, his last fight, he lost his strap to Tyron Woodley. And then won a very nice prize. And I'm not going to tell you just yet what the prize is, even though I know what the prize is. That's a secret for you guys. So, that's 214. Now, let me talk about the spotlight. And like I said earlier, someone from the Coliseum, and I always want to make the spotlight someone that you haven't heard of, someone that's just coming up. Well, Junior Baby Albini. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. He's 26 years old, and this kid got into MMA because he was very, how we say, fat. So he got into MMA to lose weight. You figure a certain podcast host would follow suit and do the same. I don't know. Maybe I will. But he comes over from Brazil, and here's the thing. His 2-year-old daughter doesn't have any toys. From what he says, the only thing she gets to play with at home is empty shampoo bottles, empty water bottles. That's all this poor little girl plays with. And here's the thing. It's a really sad story. It's a really heartwarming story. But here's the way I think. It is creating creativity in this young child that maybe, just maybe, will make her become something great. And then she can look back and say, hey, it started because all I had to play with was shampoo and water bottles. Think about it. Not every kid needs toys. But anyways, I digress. So UFC fighters and all MMA fighters get a stipend. Not only do they get regular pay, but they get money just for being themselves. So what he did was, down on Hempstead Turnpike, there's a giant Walmart. He went in there, bought a bunch of toys, and he shipped them back to Brazil. Great guy. That is the meaning of the word dad, that is a great move on his part. I don't know how in the world. Here's the deal. If I'm a fighter, and even if it's one of these shady companies, because it's the Aspira Fight Championships in Brazil, shame on you guys for not paying your fighters. But his last 9 fights, he wasn't paid. And personally, if I'm a fighter and a promoter bails out on me, runs out, and doesn't pay me, I'm going to hunt him down and I'm going to choke him out. I will snap his neck. You don't not pay your talent. As a matter of fact, for the Cyclone variety show, I spend like $200 a month on food for my guests. That's unheard of at Brooklyn Access Cable. Okay? Talent needs to be fed. Talent needs to be taken care of. And that goes for anybody. For, say, comedy club owners, you need a green room. Not a closet. Not a sit in the bathroom, that's your green room. No, a green room. Talent is talent. Talent needs to be treated not like gods, but talent needs to be treated, as talent. People come to see them. They need to be taken care of. If talent in the entertainment business, and I'm not talking about SAG because I'm part of SAG, and let's face it, SAG only cares about the upper echelon. But homeboys we need to unionize. That's the only way I can really put it. Okay, talent needs to unionize and hold the bigwigs' feet to the fire. But anyways, Junior Albini with that knockout wins a $50,000 performance bonus. So a guy who has $100 in his pocket walks out of the Coliseum with $70,000. And early word this morning was he went back to Walmart and cleaned out all the toy shelves for his daughter. So I mean, I got to give the guy the spotlight because that is really absolutely awesome. And by the way, here's the deal. Jason Albini, for those of you who don't know, and most of you I guarantee you don't, he's now on a 10-fight winning streak. And honestly, the heavyweight division, yeah, okay. Obviously, Stipe's, tough. You got Overeem, you got Verdum, Kane. But Nagano is that second level. You need that next level, and Curtis Blades is there. And right below Curtis Blades, I think Junior Albini fits in. And that's good. That's good. That's good for the division that they have some new blood starting to come in. Now, I am going to go into my grab bag of numbers. I am going to pull out 2 numbers, and they are going to be numero. Would help if I could read. Wow, what are the chances that numbers back to back come out? Because that I think is impressive. I think I should go play the lotto, although with my luck, no chance in hell I win. The numbers are 183 and 184. So let's... Ha ha ha. Okay. 183 in the red corner. Evangelista Santos. And number 184 in the blue corner, Alexander Shlemenko. Not even, this is going to go fast. Not even a question, not even a doubt. Storm, Alexander Shlemenko would tear a new sphincter into Santos. That's going to be that. I'm just skipping right over it. It's going to be a sphincter tearing for Shlemenko. That would be sick. Because fighters have pooped in the cage, but to have a fighter get a new sphincter ripped would be quite interesting to see. So let's say we hit up a question from a fan now, huh? Hey, George, give me a number from 1 to 13. 8. Okay, guys. Whoever's number 8's going to win, and I don't want to hear, oh, Cyclone, you picked no. Send all the hate mail to my producer, George, for picking number 8, and not to me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Rudy Asher, you just won a prize. Your question is, what do you think of former WWE wrestlers and MMA, example Lesnar, CM Punk, Bobby Lashley? Okay, that's an interesting topic. WWE wrestlers, some of them do have a Greco-Roman wrestling background, sort of like a Kurt Angle, who was an Olympic gold medalist. I'm not sure of who else went to that level as far as wrestling is concerned. But yeah, your example of Lesnar crossing over. Lashley's made a semi-decent career doing MMA because he took it seriously. If you're going to take it seriously and throw your life into it, by all means, you have my blessing. If you're someone like a CM Punk who got starched after training for a very long time with Duke Rufus, the fact of the matter is, if you were serious about it, even though Dana says you're never going to fight again, Dana says one thing one day and then changes it the very next day. All right? Dana says what's hot at the moment. If you went back to Duke Rufus the very next day, or the day after, or within the week, okay, and say, Duke, I messed up. I want to fix what I screwed up with. I want to come back stronger. I want to come back better. I want to do this for a career, then fine. But you haven't done that, CM Punk, have you? No, you haven't. So I got a problem with that. Now, someone like Brock, that's interesting. Because I actually told Stipe Miocic at the hotel in Long Island, do me a favor, Stipe. Don't ever get into the cage with that big doofus steroid-taken mother effer, Brock. And his response was, don't worry, I could take him. And I'm like, no, Stipe, you can't. You're not going to say Brock's not on roids, okay? He did not come out the womb looking like that. As a matter of fact, someone who I spoke to, who will remain nameless, told me that Brock's hands are the biggest in MMA history, which is probably true, and that his gloves are 5XL, and they're basically just leather wraps. There's no padding in them because you can only have 4-ounce gloves, and because his hand is so big, you can't have the padding that a normal fighter-sized hands would be able to have. So it's basically just a strap. I got issues with Brock. Do I think Mark Hunt is right to sue the UFC? No. Because here's the deal. Someone like me, if I'm doing stand-up and the club booker or the club owner changes his mind and says, you know what, Cyclone? No stage time for you. I can't sue. I would like to. There's a couple I would have taken to the bank for lots and lots of cash, but that makes no sense. But I can see where Mark Hunt, after getting lit up like a Christmas tree by Brock, would turn around and sue. But you had to know going in, though, that he was a roided freak. I think if other WWE wrestlers want to get into MMA, it's an interesting thing because, look, WWE wrestlers, and I'm friends with a lot of indie wrestlers, the bumps they take are real. While yes, everything, the outcomes are all scripted, things are done ahead of time, bumps are legit. Now, is it anything like a MMA hit to the face? Hell no. Well, a chair shot to the back is nothing like me choking you out where you're going to lose consciousness and collapse. So it's real blood coming out of real hits. And then, I don't know. To answer your question, I know I've run around the point, but what do you think of former WWE wrestlers in MMA? I think as long as, honestly, my answer is if you're going to take it seriously, just like anything in life. Like, here's the thing. I always say I'm going back to the gym. I'm not going back to the gym. Only gym I'm going back to is Jim Beam. Okay? I say I'm not going to eat, but let's face it. I stuff my face. I say things and I don't mean them. If you're going to be a WWE wrestler and go into MMA, be serious about it. That's what I think about them. And that's even to the future WWE guys that want to come into MMA. Wow. So we have just about come to the end. I will say this. Please, pretty please, I'm begging you all, get your friends, family members, enemies, people you know, people you hate, people you don't know. Just go on the street and say, hey, yo, let me ask you a question. Have you ever heard of In the Cage with Cyclone? No, you haven't? Go on Facebook and click like. Get other people to like. We got to blow this motherfucker up. To quote Kana, we got to blow this motherfucker up and get this really big. Because quite frankly, I need some sponsors. Click like. Really simple. You head over to Twitter. You type in CYCIE19. And on my Twitter page, I sometimes tend to get graphic. So if you like the graphic stuff, you're going to like my tweets. Go to boneheadpicks.com. And yeah, I know I'm always giving them a plug. The matter is, it's a good sports site. You can read all my articles. Hell, you know what? I'm going to give everybody else props. You can read any sport you like. They even talk about movies. They talk about TV. If you like reading, go to boneheadpicks.com. If you don't like reading, follow me on one of the other things you could follow me at. Then, obviously, of course, it's cyclonecomedy.com. You could buy a souvenir. You could buy signed stuff, too, because I sign stuff. And I don't charge extra money for that. Now, how cool is that? And with that, I want to remind all of you that I will return to all of you August 14th. Now, you know, August 14th is the anniversary of me and my ex. But I don't remember these things. I don't hold grudges. That witch. But I return on August 14th. So you know I'm going to be in the heart-loving mood on the 14th. And by the way, that's also a week before Connor Floyd. So until then, remember, like I always say, just because you are not an athlete does not mean you cannot be an athletic supporter. Bye-bye.